nationwide search for a 4-year-old Ohio girl reaches a fever pitch. Haylee Donovan, said to be in extreme danger after she disappeared with her mom and her mom's Tier 3 sex offender boyfriend, Robbie Potter. Potter's previous victims were reportedly just 7 and 9 years old. Tier 3 is the most dangerous ranking available for these predators. He's a Tier 3. The fleeing trio was last spotted in Stratton, Colorado. That's more than 1,000 miles away from their Ohio hometown. Little Haylee's grandmother suspects they're headed to Arizona, but authorities say they could be anywhere right now. Meantime, we're learning more from the mom's friends about the very strange personality of this new boyfriend turned fugitive, the Tier 3. Here's what one friend said about her first encounter with a sex offender on Nancy Grace.
Wasn't very comfortable. He didn't make any eye contact with me, and he had went outside the house and walked around the house for like 5 laps, just kind of staring up and down the house and things like that. I didn't have any kind of conversation with him at all. He just said, "This is Samantha Smith, this is Robbie," and that was it.
So who exactly is this Robbie Potter, and why would Mother Candace allow her precious daughter to be with him? Straight to my expert panel, Mike Gaynor, retired NYPD detective and president of East Coast Detectives. And by phone, U.S. Deputy Marshal Brian Fitzgibbon, the lead investigator in this case. Marshal, thank you for joining us. I know you're very busy working around the clock with your team. What is the very latest?
The latest is we're still fielding hundreds of phone calls from tipsters. Are extremely observant, especially those tipsters that are on the road, and I especially like to thank all the truckers that are calling in with tips. And we're going everywhere, coast to coast. We're pulling out all the stops, and we're not counting anything out. You know, last sighting was Colorado, but we're going everywhere.
But Marshal, obviously to travel they need gas, and now that you've found out that they were in Colorado, I would assume that if they know that they're being sought, they're afraid to get gas because they're going to be videotaped on a security camera at a gas station. Those are all over the place now. They've already been caught on video at least twice. So are they just hiding out and not seeking gas, or do you think they've switched cars and are getting gas with another vehicle, not this green pickup truck that we've been seeing?
Right, we're fielding all possibilities. There's a possibility that they could be out camping somewhere. They could have shacked up with friends or befriended somebody. Robbie Potter, he's a manipulative person. He could tell somebody a sob story, and they could be unknowingly helping them out. It's a possibility. I would not be surprised. Now,
what have you garnered and learned in terms of your psychological analysis of what's going on with this trio from the videotape that we have of Candace, the mom, getting out and getting gas, pumping gas, essentially? And that's a couple of weeks ago, but that's the last sighting we have of her. She seems like doing it of her own volition.
You know, it seems that way, and that's what it appears on the video. Candace did go on her own with Robbie, and they did leave the state on her own. So she seems knowledgeable and accepting of the fact that she's fleeing with this violent sex offender.
All right. Well, Brian Fitzgibbon, I know you guys are working very, very hard to try to find this trio, and we sent a message out. Of course, if you're watching and you're Candace or Robbie Potter, just let it go right now, because eventually they'll catch up with you. And I pray that if the mom and child are being held against their will, that this man lets them go and then continues on his way alone. We are learning more and more about sex offender fugitive Robbie Potter. Listen to Haylee's uncle, a sex offender himself, describe Potter.
That boggles my mind, probably because that's the only person that could get him a ride. That's the only person here that would come pick him up. Without no question. Because my sister's that way. She's like, she'll do anything.
Why would she take off with him then?
Because he's a very, very manipulative person. This guy, you guys look at him in a picture and he looks like, you know, like a regular person, whatever, but he's very, very manipulative.
Also, HLN's Nancy Grace asked Haylee's grandmother and Candace's mom about the relationship between Candace and Potter. Listen to this.
Miss Watson, what got into her to romance a convicted sex offender from behind bars? I mean, she knew he was in prison for a sex offense with a minor.
No, she did not know.
Well, didn't she meet him behind bars?
No, as far as I know, she did not.
Well,
he has manipulated her.
Mike Gaynor, what's your analysis of this situation?
Well, I'm sure there's a certain amount of manipulation that went along with this, but at best, Candace Watson, the mother of Haylee, is probably just a stupid woman. She may not realize the magnitude of the problem that's been created so far. The problem here is with Robbie Potter. This is a potentially extremely dangerous guy, and whether or not the
and
mother
let me
is...
jump in here and
Go
say
ahead.
that we're hearing a report that Candace's friend and roommate claims when she saw Candace was in bed with Robbie and the child.
Yeah, I heard that report.
Yeah,
Yes, I
that's
did.
scary.
Yeah, well, that shows you that this guy knew right away what he was up to was no good. This is another one of these guys that needs to be caught quickly. Marshal Fitzgibbons and the Marshal Service have mounted a nationwide manhunt to try to locate this guy and, of course, hopefully find Haylee in good shape. It's going to take a lot of work, but they'll get it done.
Let's hope, let's pray they find this child alive. Mike, thank you. Tonight, breaking news, a bombshell development.